For this one I'm going to be doing something slightly different. I'm going to do a hands-on review of an Adobe Photoshop plugin from Composite Nation named Oniric. And Oniric is a glow generator, and if you're an image compositor or a photographer, this might be of interest to you. It's a very intuitive plugin for Photoshop that you have total control over. That's what I really liked about it. It wasn't just click a button and it was in action and it was created and it gave you this effect. You have total control over this, and it comes back in as layers into Photoshop as well, which again you have control over. So that made it even more valuable to me. I've only been using the plugin very recently, so there's still a lot more I have to learn about it. But what I'm finding so far is it's, as I said, very intuitive. You have total control, and the effect it provides to your images, they go from here to here in a very, very short space of time. The image I'm working on for this hands-on review of the plugin is a sci-fi image, and it just seemed the most natural thing for me to do with it was using it as a composite. But I have also used it for portraits and sunsets, and I'm really looking forward to diving further into that side of it as well. As I say, relatively new to it, so what I'm going to show you is just what I know so far, and even at that it's not the best. If you want to check out some fantastic work, check out their Instagram page, which is Composite Nation, and you'll see some of the artists on there as well. Some of the work on there is absolutely phenomenal. So without further ado, I'm going to show you a hands-on edit using it, and hopefully that'll give you a taste for it. Let's dive right in. So there we have the finished image. So what I'm going to do is I'll very quickly turn off the Oniric elements in here. So that's the image we're working with. It is a composite image made up of multiple layers in this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I built this image up. But I'll do it relatively quickly so that you're seeing how everything comes together. So what I'll do just for now is I'll drop all these into a group, and I'll turn that group off. I don't have to compress all the layers to get it. It works with the layers as separate. So I'm just going to go into the Oniric and click generate. And that's it. Straight away, I'll zoom out. Straight away, it's generated a diffused glow over the entire image, reading all the highlights and the colours. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this up very quickly for you. So I'm going to go into streaks straight away. I'm not going to adjust any intensities or anything here, but you do have control over these. I'll take one back slightly just to let you see. So you've got entire control over these at each point. What you also have control over is where they're applied to. So I'm going to choose enable mask, and I am just going to use the brush, and it works with the brushes in Photoshop. Above our eye and below our eye is actually another brush in Photoshop, but I'll show you that at the very end. So I'm just going to add streaks there, make the brush a bit bigger so you've still got the brush controls in there. Let's just put one up here just for the purposes of this video, and let's just put one there. So if I now click apply, you see where it's created. Now I could go in and edit that mask again and add more or take some away because you've got the eraser option. I can invert it so that it applies to everything except for those areas, and I can clear my edit entirely. So it's quite handy that way as well. Quite intuitive that way as well. So I'm going to leave it at that for this one. I'm just going to paint in a bit more. It doesn't actually matter how big I make that. It won't increase the streak any. That I've found anyway. So I'm going to leave that at that, and then I'm going to click apply, and then I'm going to click save. So you get a pop up here, and I'm just going to call this one streaks, and click return or hit save. And what I'll do is I'll zoom out so that you can see it again. So there you can see it's added the streaks element, so the layer is titled there. I also have control over it. As you see, it creates a mask. I can turn the opacity of it down, do whatever I want with it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to generate another one, and this one I am going to go for the diffusion. Possibly a bit too much in her skin here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the threshold back, and that I'm actually quite happy with. That's not too much, but at the same time, if I wanted even less on the skin, I could go in and use the mask The other good thing is, if I click X-ray, it lets me see where it is going to affect and what areas it's picking up. It's like a luminosity mask for it. So it's letting me see that everything here is going to be picked up and that's where it's going to be applied to. So I'm going to go for that. For this one, I'm going to turn the threshold back up slightly just to give us an overall glow. And then I'm going to click Save. And I'm going to call this Diffuse 1. And now we have the diffuse going. You can see it in here. It's created everything for me and it shows where it is. And I can flick that on and off. I can go into screen mode. I could choose lighting, overlay. So you've got full control over this. I could take out certain areas. Last but not least in this, I'm going to show you how to colorize some of it as well. So I'm going to click generate one last time. And for this one, I am going to change the colour. So that's it, created a glow based on what we have already. But this time I'm going to colorise it. Straight away falls into the default and you've got the control over the hue, saturation and lightness of it. At the same time, the mask is also there as well. So if you only want to colour certain areas, you can do that. For this one, I'm going to take this to the blue just to keep with the running theme of everything else. There, and I'm going to turn the intensity of it down slightly. Just to around there. So that's it. And if I take the X-ray, you can see where it's been applied to, and you'll notice this time it's been applied to more areas than the last time. So previews there. Quite happy with that, the glow and everything in there. And if I wanted to, I mean, I could push the saturation as well. So that's me. I've now built it up in the 3 layers, and I'm going to click Save. And I'm going to call this Colour. And with this, you can see that it has the blue cast over it. And what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to turn that down slightly. Just to about there. So you see how quickly and easily that can change the image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to group all these together just to about there. And I'll just put them in a group. And I'm going to turn that group off. And so we can go from this here to that there in a very, very short space of time and still have control over. So I said I would show you how the brushes work, so let me go in here and click generate. What I'll do is I'll zoom right in to this eye here, and as you can see, it's added the diffuse glow over the entire image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask it off and just bring it into a smaller area. So I have control of my brushes via the square brackets. So everything's the same. I'll zoom out slightly just so that I can see more. And I am going to click a couple of times in here just to intensify the brush itself. And I'm going to click apply. So you can see it's generated lighter areas in here. At the same time, I can go in and colorise this. And I can choose, let's go for the blue again just to see it working. So there you go. So that's actually painted it in. Then we can adjust the radius, the exposure, so we can brighten it back up and just apply it to where we want. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to leave the saturation and everything where it is, save. And we'll just call this one brush. So that's been applied over that eye, and I just did it there just to show you how it works. But what we're going to do is we're going to move it and place it over that eye. And because of how it works, do you notice it's picking up the other hues within that? So I could place that there. And that gives me another effect that can be used via brushes. And this can be done, so far I've found with every brush I've tried, it's worked. There's probably going to be brushes it doesn't work with, but I don't know because I haven't found them yet. So that's another thing you can do as well. The brushes that you have available in Photoshop here, depending on what brushes you have, seem to work as well in this, which is really, really useful when it comes to applying effects. So if I go up here, I'll let you see that. I'll just move this again. So I can go in and just place that, say there, and because the mask is there, I could go in, change my brush back to a default brush, take it back. I'm on black, and I can paint some of it out. So I have total control over this, which is something that's really, really handy as well. Fade it back, apply it. It's screen blending mode anyway, so zoom back out. So you can see how this can be used for many different purposes. Hopefully that gained your interest there, and it lets you see what the software can do. As I say, I'm relatively new to it, so I'm still learning it, and I'm looking forward to learning more about it and to see how I can utilise it in more of my images. I'll put a link to Composite Nation, their Instagram page, and also the website down below in the description if you are interested and want to check the software out. I know very recently they had a sale on in the software. I'm not sure, I'd have to check again if the sale is still running, but it's definitely worth checking out, and especially see if you're a composite artist, I would definitely check this out. It really is going to add that dimension and atmosphere to your images. It's absolutely brilliant, and thank you if you stuck to the end for this one, because it's something that I don't normally do. I try to incorporate an edit with this review, so hopefully that helped, and hopefully it gained a thirst for the software, the plugin for you. If you've enjoyed this video, please check out the other videos in the channel below. If you're currently not a subscriber, please consider subscribing, because that would be greatly appreciated. Remember, stay safe, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.